Hello, Lynette here. The whole censorship thing became just new levels of absurdity this last week when we all heard about the Baby It's Cold Outside song being banned on different stations across America. Apparently a lot of these stations then got such an uproar that they did a poll for their listeners, and 72 to 95% of the people that were polled said, "Bring the damn song back." And so they did. So that's good news. Something good happened. I wanted to read you just the lyrics of that song because, we all hum along to it at Christmas time and we say we know it. But, if people are this upset, maybe there really are some, as they said in the news, rapey lyrics in this song. This is the second verse because it's a little juicier than the first. "I simply must go." He says, "Baby, it's cold outside." The answer is no, but baby, it's cold outside. "You're welcome, Miss Ben. How lucky that you dropped in. So nice and warm. Look out the window at that storm." And then a bunch of things about relatives being upset. And she says, "Lend me a comb." And he says, "It's up to your knees out there. You've really been grand. I thrill when you touch my hand." He says that to her. That's really rapey, isn't it? "I thrill when you touch my hand." Boy, it doesn't get any nastier than that. I'm sorry I read that out loud. "You've really been grand. But don't you see? How can you do this thing to me?" he says. That's pretty rapey too. "There's bound to be talk tomorrow." And he says, "Think of my lifelong sorrow. At least there'll be plenty implied if you got pneumonia and died. And then I really can't stay." That was the second verse. First verse is the same thing. A couple things about the relatives be upset. So very nice. And he says, "I'll hold your hands. They're just like ice." And she says, "But maybe just a half a drink more. And to put some records on while I pour." Oh, that's bad. That's really bad. Talking about drinking and records. Oh, you know what that means. That's subliminal language for "I want to rape you." Yeah. So that was just, it's you know what the word is? It's gross. It is gross that we are having this conversation. And I'm very proud of Americans for standing up and saying, this is insane. You have to bring this song back. But the censorship thing has just, I don't know if you're familiar with how much of this goes on out there in the social media world between YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and now Patreon, which is the funding mechanism. It's like a bank for the internet, where you can sign up for it and it takes the money out of your account automatically to give to Sam Smith, whatever. So these YouTubers that are really big are actually making income, and maybe a lot of you are subscribed to people and use this option. It's great. And they have decided to join in with the liberal commies and say, "Oh, well, we don't like you. We're gonna take you off of our service." And so these people have had to go elsewhere to find a funding mechanism, and there are several out there. So it looks like that's going to be okay. But what sort of mindset? That's like a store saying, "So and so, I don't like what you say. You can't shop here with me. So and so, I don't believe in your policies. You can't shop here with me." It's craziness. A couple of the people have been banned on Twitter. This is just a little minuscule. These are people that I know are familiar with because I watch them consistently. Red Elephants, banned on Twitter for 6 months. This guy is so honest and so highly researched that the crime that he has committed is telling the truth. He quotes FBI statistics and municipal records and things that are there for the public to see every single day. And yet they say that goes against their terms of use. Black Pigeon Speaks. This is a British guy. Oh my gosh, he's so good. And again, he just speaks the truth, but he talks about things like immigration and things that you can't talk about. Jared Taylor. Now he is a little bit, I do understand he's, speaks about race and IQ, speaks a lot about race. Everything he says is highly documented. It's factual. It's from studies that have been done, very large studies. But it's the truth, and this is what upsets the left, because if it goes against a particular group, and you say, and it's the truth, it's bad, you're not allowed to say it. Just can't talk about it. Tommy Robinson. I made the mistake the other day. I called him a radical on one of my videos. I don't believe he's, by that I meant he's very active. That was the wrong word to use. I think Tommy Robinson is fabulous. He is an activist in England for kind of specializing in the whole Muslim crisis over there, how bad Islamic immigration has been for England and the crimes that they commit and this sort of thing. And the British press has just tried to shut him down to the point of they put him in jail for 4 months even. But I talked about that already. Then the Patreon, the people that were, a whole list of people have been thrown off of Patreon, but the ones I know, Sargon of Akkad, British guy, super intelligent. If anything, he's a little bit middle of the road sometimes for me. I'd kind of like him to give more of an opinion. Milo Yiannopoulos. He's the gay fellow who's British. He's quite the character. You either love him or you hate him because personality is so big. But the fact of the matter is, so what? So what? That is what I believe free speech means. Is that if it upsets you, but doesn't upset me, that we're going to listen to it, and vice versa. There's been plenty of things in my life where people wanted to ramble on about religious topics and quote Bible scripture and all this kind of thing. And I'm an atheist, so this bugs me. And I might leave. I might turn it off. I might grumble. But I'm not going to say you can't talk that way because I don't like it. The very concept of America. James Alsop, younger fella out of Washington State here. He goes, one of his specialties is going around to say there's going to be a big campus, march or something like that. And he'll go and he'll interview people. And he's conservative and he's marvelous. He's absolutely marvelous, completely harmless. He's not inciting violence or anything like that. And he's been banned off of Patreon. There's a beautiful blonde-haired young woman. Her first name is Liz on One America News Network. I don't know if you're familiar with that YouTube channel. She's marvelous. And she's been banned from Patreon. And then this last week, the Heisman Trophy winner, I don't know too much about this story, but I know that when he was a 15-year-old, he did a tweet that said something snarky. It wasn't even really that nasty. It was just snarky about a gay person. And the media uproar about this tweet that happened years ago, he had to apologize and grovel and beg forgiveness of these people. And then Kevin Hart, the comedian, I know you heard about that, how he was, he said something in the tweet, this was like 20 years ago, or early tweets, whatever it was, years and years ago, again, where he was a very young man. And he said something about if his son was gay, he'd be upset. Again, it was very tame. And somebody found this out, and he had been hired to be the host of the Academy Awards, and the Academy Awards went ballistic, and he had to step down. And again, he had to apologize and grovel. And this is the problem. Until people stop apologizing for this stuff and start saying, I did this when I was a young man. I'm not even going to say I'm sorry because I'm not going to take it out of context and say I'm sorry for something I did in the past. Whatever, but, move on. And until people in Hollywood, Kevin Hart would have been a really good person because I'm not familiar with him, but I guess he's pretty well known. And he's also African American, which they're starting to eat their own, which is really amazing. Yeah, we have a serious problem here. But the fact of the matter is that if if you're on Facebook and you say something, you misspeak, or something else finds out something from your past, and people in your Facebook world get all upset, don't back down. Don't apologize. Dig your heels in. Because you have the right to say whatever you want to say. Start saying these things about that you like the president. Start saying things that are of a conservative flavor. Until we start doing that, we're going to continue to be in the closet, and they're going to continue to take our songs away and take away the very thing that made America, America. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.